Well, hello everyone. Welcome to My Raw Life. I'm Natrina Young. We're going to be talking about hydration today. And in talking about hydration, I'm going to let you know what happened to me and then give you some tips. And just from my personal experience, this doesn't happen with everyone. I do understand that. But this has been my experience in reference to hydration. Um, with my raw life, of course, I consume raw foods. I've been doing this. I actually calculated the time the other day. I just don't remember what it was. But I've been doing this for some time now, and I've been getting some wonderful benefits. And one of the things that I try to make sure I do is do resting. Um, I know you guys keep hearing me talk about that. It's just not time for me to bring that out. But at some point we're going to talk about resting, but in my time of resting, one of the things that I do is make sure that I stay hydrated, and I was doing so by way of water. But just not too long ago, maybe I think it's maybe about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago, I had this situation happen. Okay, let me tell you. I drink a lot of water on a daily basis, or I was. And I'm still healthy and I'm still on the raw thing, living a raw life, but I don't drink as much water as I used to. And here's why. Well, I was drinking a lot of water on a daily basis. And so I decided that I was going to get me a water bottle, a filtered water bottle. In my home, we use zero water. I like zero water because it's I think it's 6 point or 9 point filtration system, and the water really just tastes good. I can tell the difference. But anyway, I was drinking. We drink zero water in my home, but I needed a water bottle while I was out and about, because that's what I was consuming a lot of, was water. And so I went on Amazon, and I went to Walmart and tried to find a filter water bottle, and I wasn't able to find one. So I go on Amazon.com and I find a filter water bottle. Now, it's a brand that I've used, and I'm not trying to talk down on the brand. I'm just going to tell you what happened with me, so I'm not going to even tell you the brand. But it's a brand that I've used in the past, in drinking water and being able to drink out and about, because if you know anything about drinking a certain type of water, if you go and get it from other places, it doesn't taste the same. So I got this water bottle and I began to consume water all the time. I kept this water bottle full, and it was supposed to be filtered water. I'm not saying that the water wasn't filtered. I'm not saying, I don't know if something was wrong with the filter. I don't know. I don't drink tap water. I drink filtered water. Zero water is the one I drink at home. But I used this filtered water bottle, and I was using it so much. Like, sometimes when I'm resting 2 or 3 days at a time. And so this particular time, in during a rest, I was drinking water, and then all of a sudden I started breaking out. Just suddenly, just out of nowhere, I started breaking out. But I know that I needed to be hydrated. So I'm like, well, maybe it's something I put on my skin. I mean, because I was limited in what I was doing, in living a raw life, you can kind of isolate everything you do because everything is so pinpoint. So at this time, I was only drinking water. I was using a particular cleanser for my face. I don't use soaps, so I knew it wasn't that. I make my own deodorant, so I knew it wasn't that. And so by deductive reasoning, I said it was the water. And at first, I was kind of like, it can't be the water. It can't be the water. I said, well, maybe it's the water I, dunked in, soaked in, because I do a lot of detox soaking. So I said, well, let me just stop drinking the water. And it got so bad until, like, I was puffing up in just certain areas. I had localized fever in my thigh area. It felt like someone had hit me. I was breaking out in my arms. And then, it started moving up my neck, and it was all the way down on my hands and all the way down. It was just moving. And so I stopped drinking the water, and then I got so weak, I passed out. I did. Not from resting, but from whatever my body was fighting off. So now I'm pumping myself with the things that I know is going to get my body back up. I was eating kale and Brussels sprouts and different things like that, and I was eating them raw. So of course, my body began to ward off whatever was in it. The soreness went away. Then my skin began to itch and sting and all these different things. And as a result, I have, if you'll notice, I have shedded. I'm getting like new skin. I keep my body saturated in oil, and no matter, and it kind of sounded kind of scaly. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounded kind of scaly for a while, and the breakout is gone. I have a picture that I took of my arm. I had breakout. I mean, like webs of breakout all over here. My husband said it kind of looked like heat, but it was worse than that. I felt real, just scaly all over. And it's on my legs. My legs are peeling. I wore a tank top so that I can show you that I'm really, really peeling, which, it looks a little gross, but underneath that peeling is smooth skin. So each night I oil down and I skin brush my skin, and then I oil down. And when I wake up, it looks like this again. And I believe it's going to happen until it's all gone. So now let's go back and talk about hydration and how I pinpointed that it was the water. Well, again, I didn't consume anything else. And we know that you can live without food. I think it's like you can live without food for up to 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever the length of time, but you can't live long without water. So we know that we have to have hydration. We have to have hydration in our body because we are about 85% water. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that since I've been doing this, I realize how important it is to make sure that you stay hydrated no matter what's going on, no matter, what you're doing, how you're living, how active you are, how inactive you are. Being hydrated is extremely important. So hydration, the purpose of hydration, it is to provide you with water that you need in order to reestablish or to get balance, the correct balance of fluid in your body. And a lot of people don't have the correct balance of fluid in their body. And, somebody will say, oh, it wasn't the water, it was because you didn't eat. Well, I have been doing this for some time now, and I've been doing it for some years, and I've only had this issue one other time. And I'm trying to remember, I was consuming absolutely nothing, but I had put something on my body, and that's what did it. But it wasn't like this. This was more internal. I could actually feel the stinging in my skin, and no matter what I was doing, nothing was satisfying until I treated myself with the foods that I normally eat. So here's the thing. You need a correct fluid balance in your body. You can drink all the juices that you want to drink. You can drink sodas. You can drink, teas, all of that. And I'm just telling you, as long as you get the correct fluid balance in your body, you'll be fine. I'm not good. I don't promote drinking sodas. I don't promote drinking juices unless you make them on your own, different things like that, so you can know exactly what's in it. But I will tell you, make sure that you stay hydrated. Now, this is what I want you to know. This is just my findings, and I'm quite sure that if you do your research, you'll find the information that you need in order to do what you need to do to get the correct balance. I know they have some formula that you can use on how much water you should drink. Well, since that scare happened with me, I don't consume as much water anymore, especially like when I go out, because I have zero water at home. I do have a zero water cup, but it doesn't have a cap on it, so I don't try to take it out. But I don't consume much water out and about unless I get some tea, some Tyson, or hot lemon water. That's what I drink whenever I go out. So raw foods. Let me just give you something to think about. If you are looking to do something more than just drink water, because some people don't like the taste of water, and I understand that. I so get that. And since my incident, I'm apprehensive about water from this point on, because I don't drink from plastic bottles. I don't drink Dasani, especially. I don't drink a lot of different waters. I would tell you to do the research on your waters and then decide from there. But here's another option. Yes, there's another option than just sitting there chugging water down. Okay, here's another option. Raw foods offer you 80% to 98% of water content. So the water that your body needs can come from the foods you eat. Now, notice something I said. I said raw foods, because the moment you start heating food up, it changes the composition, it changes the balance, it changes the nutrients that you can get from it. It changes a lot of things. So raw foods in their raw form, they have about 80% to 98% water content. And so because of the water disaster that I had, I began to, and then in treating my body during that time, I began to consume a lot of water foods, raw foods, to assist my body in getting back to the correct balance of hydration. And so I'm going to talk about some of the foods that I ate, and then also I'm going to add to the list in other foods that I don't really eat too much of, give you the reason why I don't eat too much of it, and you just make the choice from there. Well, of course, cucumbers. Everybody, I'm quite sure everybody knows, cucumbers is a very hydrating food. It's one of the top. It's 95% water content. It has 95% water content. So a lot of you who are infusing your water with cucumber, let me give you another way you can use cucumber. One of the things that I do is I make my own juice. I call it a green juice. And instead of pouring water, you know how some people will pour water into their blender in order to make the juice and then squeeze it out. I thought, why would I put water in there if I want to get the juice out? So now what I do is I add cucumber. So I'll throw a cucumber in with my blender. I don't use my juicer, it's too messy. But I throw a cucumber in with my blender, and I use the cheesecloth to squeeze the juice, and I get the juice from the cucumber. And so you can use cucumber in that fashion. And so you don't have to infuse your water with cucumber. You can actually eat, or you can puree, you can juice cucumbers to get your water. And what I like about cucumbers is they are an anti-inflammatory. So if you've had some issues with joint aches and water weight, flare-ups and different things like that, cucumber is a great food to use. And of course, it helps with many other things, aesthetics when it comes to dealing with your body. I also make a mask with seaweed, and I add cucumber to it. You can also take your aloe vera and add cucumber to it. So there are other ways you can use cucumber. The one thing I love about raw is that because my foods are raw, if I can eat it, I'll try it on my skin, see what it does, and then share the results with others, okay? Now, don't forget, anti-inflammatories, for those who are dealing with water weight, and women, we deal with that at least once a month. So for those who are dealing with water weight, cucumbers are great for that purpose, because they're anti-inflammatories. And just about anything that has a high content of water content is a good diuretic. So think about that as well. It helps flush your body out. And another one, which is my favorite, and this is the season for it. And I started early because of what I dealt with the watermelon. Watermelon, has 92%, about 92% water content. So it is a great source. And I know, let me mention this because I've heard people talk about it sometime before in reference to, but watermelon's sweet. Okay, now think about this and take this as a cue on how you can use watermelon. If you're like me, yes, watermelon is one of my favorite because I do like the taste of it, but I've learned to accept if it doesn't taste sweet. And I've learned to accept if it doesn't taste sweet because when you take a cucumber and the rind of the watermelon, they kind of have the same taste. So the rind of the watermelon is extremely as beneficial as the cucumber, and it has more nutrients. And yes, I eat the rind of the watermelon. I can eat every part of it except the outside. And so I do eat the rind of the watermelon quite often simply because I like the fact that I'm able to get something from it. I try to utilize all my food. And so that's one of the things, see, it just sometimes. That's one of the things I do with the watermelon as well, as I get it all the way down to the white. And my son loves the white. And I used to tell him, don't do that because that's going to give you a stomach ache. No, it doesn't give you a stomach ache. What it does is it helps cleanse. So ladies, if you are looking to kind of shed a few pounds and have something tasty, eat the watermelon and the rind of the watermelon. No, it's not as tasty, but it's very beneficial. It helps flush your body out. And also watermelon is a diuretic. One of the things I like to do is when I eat watermelon, I like to move. And if I'm eating watermelon, that's pretty much my meal, along with maybe some raw nuts, if I choose to do that. And so I like to move because when I have that natural sugar in my body, a lot of people, it's sugar, so I don't want to deal with that. But when I have that natural sugar in my body, it's easier to get kind of like a rush. I don't know if it's scientifically proven or if someone would suggest it's the best thing to do, but that's what I do and it has worked for me. Okay, moving on to the next, because we got quite a list here. Moving on to the next one is iceberg lettuce. That's not my go-to lettuce simply because iceberg lettuce does break down into sugar content, but it has a 96% water content. So if you are looking to lose some weight, you have people who are doing these lettuce sandwiches and lettuce wraps. They're doing a good thing. Now, it does matter what you put in it to keep it healthy, but they are doing a good thing because iceberg lettuce has a high water content, and it's really, it's not my go-to simply because it's not as green as some of the other leaves, but it's pretty okay for you. Tomatoes. I am a huge tomato person. I like tomatoes. I like tomatoes for quite a few reasons. I like tomatoes because I can eat them like apples. I also like them because I like them green and red, and they just add flair. They're what's the word? They have flavonoids or flavoids or however you say it in there. They have that for me, and so it's one of the things that I use to help flavor my food. And the water content in tomatoes is 94%. That's in the red tomatoes. And in the green tomatoes, it's 93%. I know a lot of people don't really care to eat green tomatoes unless they're fried green tomatoes. But once you start understanding that you eat for the purpose of giving your body what it needs instead of for the purpose of taste, then you'll tend to eat things you wouldn't normally eat. And yes, can I eat them raw? Yes, I do. I was told once when I had my son, don't eat a tomato after you have a baby because you're gonna die. I was like, oops, I'm already dead, because I like tomatoes like that. Tomato has it's a good source of potassium. So if you think that, hey, I can only get potassium from bananas, no, you can get potassium from tomatoes. And it's a good source of vitamin C as well. And that's one thing, because I eat raw, I will go down to the farmer's market, grab some tomatoes because they sell quite a bit at a time. And I'll just slice them up, sit them on the thing, and we'll eat off of them, throughout the day until it's gone. Um, Anything green is good for you. Anything green is good for your system. It's good for your skin. One of the things that I do whenever I talk about eating green, I let people know that green adds oxygen to your body. Your body loves the green. So green tomatoes are pretty good. Strawberries have a 91% water content. And that was one of the things that I did consume whenever I was dealing with the skin issue. I took in strawberries because of the vitamin C. When your immune system has been attacked, you can afford all the vitamin C that you can afford. You can afford all the water content that you can get to hydrate your body to flush. And so that's what I was doing. Another one, green cabbage. There is a superfood salad that I really, really like. I don't eat the dressing out of it. I just get, because it has cabbage, it has red cabbage, it has Brussels sprouts, it has all these green things in it, and I love to eat it. So I did consume green cabbage at the time because I was trying to flush. And I know I don't eat cooked food anymore, but when I was eating cooked food, there is a cabbage soup that you can make to also help do a quick flush on your body as well. So if you want to know what that recipe is, I still know it. I just don't use it anymore because I don't have to flush that often because I'm always clean. So what green cabbage provides for you though is vitamin K and also vitamin C. And so it has a 91% water content. Red cabbage has a 92% water content. Blueberries, a wonderful, wonderful superfood. I can't remember. I was doing my best to flush my body. I don't even remember. I did have blueberries. Blueberries also they're an antioxidant. Blueberries will help with a lot of things. It does assist with your immune system as well. So you can consume blueberries. Oh, I don't have the water content, the percentage on here for blueberries. Know that it's somewhere between 80 and 98%. Kiwis. I don't really eat kiwis as much, but my daughter likes them. And kiwis, they do offer 20% more vitamin C than an orange. So if you want a power punch of vitamin C and you're really not into oranges or you're kind of oranged out, try some kiwi. Cantaloupe, another one that it's a favorite in our home is cantaloupe. I love to buy cantaloupe on the side of the road where those farmers have been, gardening, and then they just pop up with cantaloupe. They're so much sweeter than the ones. They're softer. They smell so good. And also the water content of cantaloupe is 90%. See, these are hydrating foods that you can find, especially like in the summertime. Nobody really likes to cook. People like to barbecue, but I've learned in the summertime it's so hot, food easily sours on your stomach. So here's some foods that you can eat that are beneficial, not sour on your stomach. Here's something else I like about cantaloupe. Cantaloupe assists in weight loss. It does. It's a hydrating one. It assists in weight loss. And I just recently learned this. Take the seeds of a cantaloupe. You can toast them in the oven or you can let them dry out and you can put them, sprinkle them on your salad, and it has nutrients in the seed that are very healthy for you. I don't cook anything. My husband, if he wants something cooked, he either goes and buy it or he'll cook it there. That doesn't make me a bad wife, but, I think if on one of those nice days, I'd do it for him. Bananas are on the lower level. There's 74% water content. As for me, I have made a decision in my banana intake, and I eat the banana in its early stage before it turns yellow and sweet, where it's still green and kind of firm. I do that for the sake of potassium, and it gives me an opportunity to have less sugar intake, because as I've been eating raw, just everything that's sweet, it's like 10 times sweeter. So I don't really like the sweet stuff as much anymore. So that's 74% water content. No, also bananas have potassium, and there's something else I remember about bananas. You can use the banana peel to help soothe the skin, different things like that. Grapefruit. Grapefruit has 90% water content. Grapefruit can also help control your appetite. As for me, I don't really eat grapefruit too much anymore, but I do use it in my smoothies. I use it in my smoothies, and I use it in my juices when I make them. Pears. Pears, I really like pears. Pears have 84% water content. I remember I was talking to my sister a little while ago, and I remember having a pear tree when we were growing up. Pear tree and a fig tree. And so I do use pears. I use them in my green drink. Of course, pears are green, and they offer a different type of sweetness other than like what sugar and honey and maple syrup would offer, which I don't eat sugar. I eat minimal honey and maple syrup. I've kind of pulled away from that as well. I can't remember the last time I used it. Pineapple. Pineapples, yes, water intake, good source of water content. I did not give the percentage. Some of these, I guess I just forgot to put the percentage on there. But here's what I like about pineapple. It's an anti-inflammatory. And, the inside, that little core, a lot of people, I was taught that that was poisonous, but I've learned later that it's very good for your skin. So I will take it and core it and put it aside and use it along the way in small doses. I'll just take it and cut it off, put it in a blender, use it in small doses. I'll use it in things for my skin. I'll use it in my different smoothies, and works fine. Haven't gotten sick from that at all. I know people have told me that I would. All right, raspberries, another one. Raspberries are great for antioxidants. I'm going to tell you, I have learned that I don't really care for fresh raspberries because of the fuzziness on the outside. I have used them fresh. I tried to eat them fresh, and it's just like, ugh. But I will throw them in the blender, and I have used them frozen. Since I've been raw, though, I haven't really used anything frozen. I was trying to think. I used to do the frozen a lot. I haven't done. Oh, I do use my kale and my spinach frozen, because sometimes I'll buy it in a big batch, and whenever I don't want it to wilt, I just throw it in the freezer, and I'll pull it out. But as far as my fruits and vegetable outside of the kale and the spinach, I don't really freeze them, or I don't really use them frozen. Oranges have 87% water content. Let me go back and note this now that I'm thinking about it. In tomatoes, I was reading an article, and it saddened me that people think that when you add water to your sauces that you cook, then it boosts their water intake. Let me tell you this. The particular fruit or vegetable alone has enough water content. So if you take it and add more water to it, it doesn't boost the water content. I don't know where that came from. And that's the same thing about oranges. They make the concentrated blend where you add the water. It doesn't boost the water content of it. You just add water to it. But anyway, oranges are a good source of vitamin C. The next one has become one of my favorite foods, which is spinach. Above spinach, kale is number one. So kale is my number one favorite food that's extremely beneficial to me. I'm not going to tell you that the taste is amazing. I just know that it tastes green because I go off of what my body needs. And I know that kale is just like good for me and spinach is good for me. And so some people ask me, how do you get your protein if you don't eat a lot of nuts, if you don't eat any cooked beans, if you don't eat this, you don't eat that, and especially you don't eat meat? How do you get your protein? Spinach does have protein. You can get your protein from that. And spinach also has vitamin C. Of course, you heard me talk about kale. Kale has vitamin K, vitamin A, and I'm trying to remember, there's something else that kale has in it that's very good for you. So I actually hydrate myself with these things above a lot of water because of my water fiasco. Another one that I have grown to enjoy is zucchini. Zucchini has 95% water content, and it's good, high in potassium, vitamin A, and vitamin C. I use zucchini. Maybe I'll do a green drink and show you guys how I prepare that, which my husband loves. And I can drink a green drink and it just feels like Wonder Woman pops out, you know. My son told me I was his real life Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman pops out. I feel so lively. It's just like my blood, everything just loves the green drink. It's not like the green drink you can buy from the store or the green machine or anything like that, because normally what I do is I throw anything green in it, especially I have to make sure I have the kale and the spinach. But carrots, 87% water content. Now, there are some foods that are considered root foods. Carrots is one of them. I don't know if I mentioned another one. Beets is another. And these root foods are really good for you. They have minerals in them because they're in the ground. They're very high in mineral content, which is so good for you. Like I said, it's 87% water content. And truthfully, you know, my kids did not like me saying this. Carrots are really good for your eyes. As a matter of fact, it's not only just carrots, it's orange vegetable, not an orange, but orange fruits and vegetables are good for your eyes. There's something in it. I do a lot of research. Some of the times I don't write the things down. I was like, oh, okay, that was good. So, orange fruits and vegetables are very good for your eyes. They have something in it. I eat a lot of orange bell peppers. That's another one. I don't even know if I have that on here. Bell peppers are high in water content. And I love bell peppers. I love them red, yellow, orange, green, the small ones, the big ones. I like bell peppers. They have a lot of flavonoids in it, and if you go and research this stuff, you'll find out that those are good things for you. So another one high in content is bell peppers. So I eat a lot of them. I put a lot of them. Well, I drink more than I eat. So here lately, since all of this, I've probably eaten more than I've drank in a long time, because I've really didn't want to drink water, if I must be honest. And I just didn't. Because of my daughter's graduation, I haven't had time to really do the green drink. But now my life is slowing down. I was at warp speed, but now it's slowing down a little bit so that I can get back to my norm, which is still busy, but it's still my norm. It gives me an opportunity to make my drink. Another one, mango. Mango is a good water content food, but it also is a high calorie fruit. And I won't say sworn off mangoes, but I really don't deal with them anymore. My food array is more veggies than fruit. Yeah. And so it's high in calories, but it also is good at vitamin A, vitamin B6, vitamin C, and it's also a good fiber. When you can find good fiber foods, they're good for you. And some people the main people who need the good fiber foods, I would say everybody needs fiber foods, but the main ones who need good fiber foods are those who are consuming things that they need to, flush out. And fiber foods help you do that. Broccoli has 91% water content. And broccoli is a good vitamin C. It has fiber and it also has calcium. Now, for me, because of what I've learned about broccoli, it has testosterone in it, so I don't eat a lot of broccoli. And if you guys hear my voice, I have a very heavy or deeper voice for a woman, and I don't want to add to that. So I don't know if it's gonna add to it or not, but testosterone, I don't need much of that. So I just don't deal with a lot of broccoli. As a matter of fact, I don't mind passing it on to my daughter or my husband. Peaches are 88% water content. And I do like a good peach every now and then, but not too often. Like I said, I don't eat as much fruit as I used to. Apricots, 86% of water content. Apples, we've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Apples are very good. They're good in water content based on the type of apple you get. I would say find your favorite apple. I love the Granny Smith apples, and there's another one that I eat. I just can't remember. It's not ambrosia, but it's one of the harder red apples. I don't like milly soft apples. That's what we call them. They were milly and soft. Apples are an appetite suppressant. One of the things that I suggest to people who are working hard on finding a way to get healthy, I tell them, you probably have eaten too much. So if you feel like you're getting hungry, eat half an apple now, eat a half later. It also controls cholesterol. There's a lot of things about apples, but the water content, you can use an apple for water content. And then the one that I'm going to promote is celery. Celery has 96% water content. It is a wonderful hydrating food. Yes, I've talked about watermelon and all of them, but here's what I like about the celery. Celery has mineral salts in it, and I am a firm believer is everything that's in the earth, I was made of it. So there's dirt in the earth, there's minerals, there's this, there's that, and I was made of that as well. So I need that. I may not need as much as what I once consumed, but I need it. And so celery has mineral salts, and it's 2 times effective as water, as a glass of water. So, trying to infuse your water for it to taste better, I would just tell you, go and juice these foods, these amazing foods that gives you just the right balance of water content as you get from pouring water from a bottle into a glass or out of the faucet. So do I drink a lot of water anymore? No, simply because of that fiasco. But do I drink water? Yes, I do. There are times whenever I know that I just want the water, but mainly my hydration comes from the foods that I eat. Now, this is not science or anything, but I'm just going to tell you my take on it. And you'll find that I think a lot different, as my husband says, you think different than anybody I've ever met. This is my concept. So I was talking to him and I said, what did people do when there was a famine, when there was a drought, when there was no water? They would find foods, water content. Well, some would say, well, how do you know foods grew? They didn't die. There were some people who did die from the famines, but everybody didn't die because we still have people today. And if you are a Bible reader, you will find out there was always a famine, and Egypt always had the food. So, that's just my take on it. Like I said, no solid proof that they ate these foods, but I know that someone lived because we're all here. Try that. If you have a problem with drinking a lot of water, or you've had some issues with finding a good water, try the food. It has a high water content, like I said before. And if you have any ideas or any other ways that you can get hydration, then please feel free to let me know. You can reach out to me, info at goldfolks.org. Do your best to live well and do what you need to do. If you have to go raw for a little bit of time and see that you like it, do so. If you don't like it, do something different. But please make sure that you do put some raw in your diet. It will help you to live a longer life, and living well is being gold. Have a good one. Bye-bye.